Moving on to other news now, traffic volumes are expected to pick up from this afternoon as holidaymakers head to various destinations. Our reporter Nonhlanhla Jele is on the N4 in Mpumalanga and she joins us now. Nonhlanhla, very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us. I would imagine a huge influx of traffic moving towards that direction. What do you see? What can you tell us at this point?
Good afternoon to you, Simpiwe, and to our viewers at home. Indeed, we are expecting traffic to increase, especially on this road. This is the N4 that leads to the Lebombo border, which we know is the border that is used to get to Mozambique. But as you can see behind me, this road had a lot of roadworks that were taking place this year. But I'll just ask my camera person, Azri, just to show you what I'm seeing. As you can see earlier, we spoke to the track spokesperson who told us that they will ensure that the N4 remains safe. Also, we met up with the MEC for Safety, Community and Liaison, who told us that they will ensure that the roads in Mpumalanga this festive season are safe, because he says that he spoke to the Premier, who was shaken by the number of accidents that are happening on the road. So you can imagine that police are going to be visible on the roads to make sure that a lot of cars are complying with the road rules. What we saw earlier at the Machado Dop Tollgate Plaza was that a lot of cars got impounded for not complying with the road regulations. A lot of motorists were making their way into Mpumalanga and also to Mozambique without the proper papers, without licenses, with license discs that had expired. But as you can see, that guy is actually directing traffic on this road because this route was actually closed for cars. So a lot of cars used to back up here. But now, as you can see, traffic is free-flowing, and this other route was open just last night to ensure that motorists get to their destination safer, because previously a lot of accidents used to be recorded on this particular road because of the confusion that was happening between going left and going right, all at the same time. Simpiwe?
Now, Nonhlanhla, we know that the festive season, in particular in December, is the season where we've seen a high level or high rate of traffic transgressions. So from what you've heard from transport authorities and the police, has the number increased in terms of arrests and those who found to be on the wrong side of the traffic laws?
Of course, just this morning before 12 o'clock, a lot of motorists were in trouble with the law for not complying. Number one, many of them did not have correct licenses. Some of them were traveling from Johannesburg to Mozambique with cars that were overloaded. And some of these cars were actually impounded, not for being compliant with the road rules. And some of them were not roadworthy when they were checked or inspected earlier on by the MEC and his team. So, as we have mentioned, a lot of people will be making their way in and out of the province, but some of these people are not complying. So a lot of people got arrested this morning because the police were also there as part of the operation just to ensure that people comply. But as we've mentioned before, a lot of people were not complying, and arrests, of course, were made. A lot of cars were impounded also on the spot. A lot of people had to taxis, for instance, people had to get out of taxis because their taxi drivers did not have the correct papers. As we know, a PDP is needed to drive a taxi. Most of the taxis that were stopped this morning did not have PDP licenses, so the drivers had to leave their taxis. The taxis had to be impounded, and ticket fines, of course, were issued out this morning by the MEC and his team, who did make mention of the fact that he's going to push to ensure that there is a 24-hour visibility of police, because he understands and he knows that a lot of people are going to try and travel on these roads in the middle of the night just to get away from being arrested, just to carry on using expired licenses on the road without being caught. So he says that he's going to speak to the province's premier to ensure that he gets allowed, that his police, that they reintroduce the three shifts per day for the different police on the roads, just to ensure that people comply. Because a lot of accidents, he said this morning to us, was that they happen on these roads not because people are tired or anything, but it is only because people don't comply. It's also because people use unroadworthy roadworthy cars on these roads. As I've mentioned earlier, we saw people being forced or being made to change their tires because some of the tires that they were driving with were not roadworthy. So those are some of the things that we saw here this morning in the province when the MEC for Community Security and Safety Liaison Vusishongwe and his team of police and traffic officers took to the street to ensure that people comply with road rules. Simpiwe?
All right, Nonhlanhla, thank you so much for that update. We do appreciate your time. That was our reporter Nonhlanhla Jele speaking to us live from the N4 highway in Mpumalanga.